Okay, so for the next part, we're going to talk about why do we need to review our immigration policies to allow migrants into Singapore. Well, if you look at the population trends over the years, okay, we have a falling fertility rate. If you look at the chart on the right of the screen, you can see that fertility rate since 1975, where it's at about above 2.1, has now decreased all the way to 1.2 in 2011. What does this mean? This means that as time goes by, Singapore's the couples in Singapore are actually giving birth less and less. Okay, so there's lesser children, but still more elderly people. Just to illustrate this point, you look at the chart on the left, you can see that in the 1970s, there is usually more than 10 people supporting one citizen above 65 years old. You can count here how many supporting one. But if you go through the years, okay, look, 1980, lesser, 1990, lesser also, all the way to 2015. 2015, barely 5 people supporting one senior citizen. Now, what does this mean? Okay, we're going to look into that a bit in the, after this slide, right? Now, number of elderly will triple to 900,000 by 2030 and will be supported by a smaller base of working age citizens. So what implications does that bring? Okay, now this year, or rather last year, 2015, this term was actually quite popular. It's a term called silver tsunami. It's just a metaphor describing an aging population, but it's the reality of what Singapore as a advanced society is facing. Right, the fact that the older workers will basically outnumber the younger workers, or the older people will outnumber the younger people in the near future, 2030 in fact. Right, this will worsen the age dependency ratio. What is age dependency ratio? Okay, when we talk about age dependency ratio, it is the ratio of older people more than 64 as compared to the working age population. So if you remember the chart previously, this chart, we're talking about, sorry, not this one, this chart, we're talking about an age dependency ratio of maybe 11, 12 to 1. At 2015, it's about 5 to 1. If you look at this chart, all the way to 2030, it will drop to 2 to 1. So it's basically saying that the older people need to be supported by lesser and lesser working population. Right? Now, think about it. I'll give you about 10 seconds to think about it. Okay, let this video, or maybe, sorry, don't take 10 seconds. Pause the video now as soon as I finish this. Think about the impacts of a declining age dependency ratio. What exactly is the problem when there's lesser working population supporting the senior citizens? Okay, so pause now. Alright, have you all thought about it? What are the impacts? If there's lesser people supporting the older people, what do you think will be affected? Because working people pay taxes. Okay, taxes support certain programs of the government. If there's lesser people paying taxes, how? What's the impact? Okay, let's look at the next slide. Alright, there will be increasing tax and economic burden on the working age population. People who are working, they have to pay more taxes to support the people who are retired or unable to work. Alright, then there's a shrinking customer base as population is also shrinking. What do you mean by shrinking customer base? You create products to sell in an economy. If there is lesser people in the population, who are you going to sell to? Export, fine, but let's say if exports don't work, you still have to rely on your local customer base. So you cannot sell to a population that's shrinking. Okay, companies might find Singapore unattractive to sell their products, and they also don't want to set up here because they cannot find adequate manpower. Okay, if you look at recent policy changes, you hear grumblings of companies complaining when the government stop or they reduce certain passes being issued to workers. So that's something to think about, right? So foreign manpower can help to actually address the impacts of a declining age dependency ratio. What I do want to challenge you guys is, can you guys think of other ways that you can help address the impacts of a declining age dependency ratio, other than allowing people to come in? I think it's definitely an effective solution, but do you think there are other methods as well? Let me know. So migrants and immigrants, when you allow them to come in, they bring diversity of cultures, practices, and customs from their countries of origin. Many of them come with skills, valuable experiences, and business networks to contribute ideas and expertise to Singapore's economy. Frankly speaking, they don't just come here and leech or, you know, just drain resources. No, they do come here with some connections, business experiences that Singapore or even Singapore citizens might not have. So they do have that advantage, and that's what they bring in. Alright. Now let's look at this chart. What does the trend suggest about Singapore's immigration policy during the years? Okay. Again, I expect you to actually write an analysis of this inside the summary, the Google Docs that I'll set up for you guys on Monday, or the week after the first day of week 2. Alright, so I'll set it up. Please, every one of you individually write this down or type it out. Okay.